Hey guys, it's me again, making a video for painting land. Um, I'm painting some window sash. It's raining outside, perfect time to do in the shop, not outside in the elements. And I set up this cool little tripod thing on the work table so you can see a little bit closer here. Let's get you all set up, and there we have it. How about that? No. How about that? Yeah, let's go with that. Um, okay, so I'm painting with latex paint. It's what the client wanted. It's what they picked up. And I have oiled the frames probably 3 weeks ago. And I like to paint the frames I like to oil the frames for treating the joinery, and then as well as the rebates, so it's all has a wood preservative. And then I use a oil-based primer, and I'll tint it if it's a darker color, like a red or a brown. Use white if you're going to do lighter stuff, maybe lighter blues. I don't know if it'd have a big impact with green. So I do that, and then while I'm waiting for things to dry, I'll clean the glass. And I did a video on that. And eventually I'll learn how to link all this stuff together. Once that's all done, I'll paint the interior while the glass is out. That way I don't have to deal with it on the glass before I glaze the window. And then I posted a video on just me hanging out glaze in a frame. It's kind of an awkward one to get to. How's that angle for you? Yeah, I'm not too much in the way. And I will glaze the window sash after I get the interior painted. Now this glazing putty has been hanging out in my shop, I'd say about 4 days. It's really well skinned. By skinned, I mean the oils in the sash putty have polymerized a reasonable amount. And that makes it hard. It's hard to smush it. A lot of people, they'll grab the frames and, yeah, you can see it. This is great. They'll grab the frame and they'll smush it with their fingers. Don't handle the frames like that. You'll smush the putty. All the newbies do it. Sometimes I'll do it by accident. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. It's just an inconvenience. And if you notice, I did not prime the putty. And here's my train of thought. Since the sash putty has skinned, and there is that pumice on the surface that also helped it skin quicker, which has a bit of a grit to it at the corners. With that grit, it gives it a surface for the latex paint to bind onto, giving it a reasonable foundation to adhere. And then, as the latex dries, it does kind of shrink a little bit. And I'm not the biggest fan of latex paint, but you know what? It's okay. It's what the client wants. It's what we'll use. I don't want to be too prejudiced. And if you're going to paint with primer over the sash putty once it's skinned, rather than doing what I'm doing, what's the net benefit to that? Because you're already putting latex on an oil-based product, and there's enough tooth for this to bite onto. And I could see if the putty isn't very well skinned, that's awkward to get to. If the putty isn't well skinned, then yeah, I could see the wrinkling and delamination and pulling it up. But if you let it firm up enough, it should be a sound surface for the latex paint to dry and do the shrinking. We'll find out in time. I've seen windows not painted at all, such as Sunset Lodge up on Mount Rainier, where the putty is totally exposed. Let's get a little more paint in that reservoir. Of course, I've seen it primed, I've seen it enameled. But you know, there's more latex being used this day and age. And people like it primarily for the safety features. You can also notice that I am not taping the glass. I like to cut the excess paint off with like a straight edge and a razor blade. I think that gives you a sharper line than you'd ever get with taping or using painter's tape to cover the glass. When you use painter's tape, you kind of get these little, it's not a consistent straight line, it's kind of textured. And I'm not a fan of that. So I like to paint over the glass. And that way I can get some nice sharp corners when I cut the excess off. I am currently using a little oval sash brush. It's round, it's adorable. And I like it because you can rotate. If you watch me, watch like that little hole, that's a good indicator of rotation. You can kind of see how I'm doing this. I'm kind of rotating the brush to constantly apply a reservoir paint. If you use those conventional sash brushes, yeah, it's got a chisel edge to it, but you don't have as much flexibility in application, I suppose. So like I got that big glob that I'm now passing over. If I keep rotating it, I can capture that reservoir and apply it evenly across. With a chisel, you kind of need to go back and forth at times. And this is just what I'm comfortable with. You do you. I think that's the way to go about it. Usually I'll listen to music while I do this. I wish I need like a second sound system because I'm using my phone for recording. I'd love to have some tunes going as well. There. So, I mean, what's the pros and cons? I think this is a slightly faster technique than taping and spraying the frame. Spraying is a bit faster. You can get some more even applications. Sometimes if you screw up on the spray gun, like you get all these big fat globs of paint. And I'm not such a big fan of that. And considering this is more of a traditional craft, the brush marks as well as the planer marks adds a little more personality to the product. I know this day and age where smooth and shiny kind of prevails. I like a little bit of grit to keep that connection to being, I don't know, organic lifestyle. I guess that's why a lot of people like historic structures because it does have a past, it has heritage, it has texture, it has emotion to it. But I also do, when I brushed the top rail, I brushed over the joint. You want to go with the grain of the wood. And I am not by any means a master painter. I'm probably one of the worst painters. But on a day like today when it's wet, the world is totally anxious about the 2020 election results. Boy, it sure feels good just to chill out and paint some windows. God. I think we all need some chill pill moments. You can see I'm kind of backhanding. It's a little awkward technique. But I'm being light. I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I hope everyone is doing all right during this whole election thing. It's been a spicy season. Seems like everyone's short on patience and tolerance, and I hope we all get along. I don't know, I'm from Oregon, and I live in a very liberal bubble. And so I hear a lot from the quote-unquote left and the folks from the quote-unquote right. And I see both folks, and shit, they're all nice people. I don't get it. I don't get it. So I hope everyone is doing okay. That's all I care about. Maybe watch some Bob Ross videos. That sounds like a great idea. Happy little clouds. Paint a few mountains. Mandatory election day Bob Ross sessions. I do paint with oils. I'm not an artist, believe me. I like to do watercolor someday, but that's a different topic. I will paint with Albac. I do that a lot for museum or clients that really strongly emphasize historic, I don't know about the word integrity, historic techniques, materials. And Albac or Otosan are some great natural linseed oil based painting products. I like how it lays. I love the cleanup process, and the smell is just fantastic. And I know people are big on price, but when it comes to historic preservation projects, labor is the most expensive aspect of it. Now, I know there's the red here from the interior surface when I was painting. This was making contact on the little riser sticks. I'm going to ignore that and just paint it. Because after another coat or two, there isn't going to be much of a notice. A little dab in the corner, a little dab in that corner. Of course, you use the word dab these days. I don't even know what it truly means. Must have something to do with a video game. Fortnite. I don't do much of that. So, of course, the frame is resting on my piece of foam. keeps the product cleaner, improves its mobility. I'm trying to really get to the contact point between the putty and the glass. It's kind of a water sealant spot. Very good. Go over it. Oh, we got one loose hair. Come on. There you go. Come on, back up. So, we'll let this sit for a day. I already have 5 done. I try to go by size categories. It helps me keep track of quantities. Give it a look over. And we got 2 spots right there. Let's just get in there and lay it in. There we go. Brush out the excess. Get it in there, brush out the excess. Now the glass is textured, you can see the little droplets on the other side. So it's been rolled for privacy glass. And it'll cut off without issue. You don't want to paint the other side, that's where it's really hard. And then I have, along with the paint, I have a water catch for the brush to go into. That way it doesn't dry. Keep your brush good. I've used this, I think, on 3 projects now. So a brush can go a long ways. Let's see if we can move you and get a better look. I like this little tripod setup. It's pretty dandy. Smooth and easy. So you can see how it looks up close and personal. You can see I'm not putting too much on the glass because I don't want to cut off a whole bunch of paint when it comes time for that process. So this tripod thing, vernacular is what we call it. So we'll let it dry. It dries fairly well. It's reasonably low maintenance. Let's see if I can put you back up nice and easy. There we go. All right. Cool. Well, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I like this approach of sharing and showing. I missed a spot. But when we come to Outback paint, I'll go over that too. I think that's a good one for people to know. People are curious about it. We did latex. I'll show priming. And we also paint the brick molding. We've already done that, but we can show you the rhythms and method of that too. And sometimes in pretty rough coastal climates, we'll do a penetrate epoxy treatment prior to painting. So you get a good wood preservative as well as a very strong chemical bond to the wood surface rather than having a mechanical bond like a dried primer to a latex paint. There's a lot more integration of how that's connected. So anyway, I think, yeah, more little painting topics when it shows up, and I'll try to have it categorized in the playlists on the YouTube channel, and I hope it's educational. Please feel free to comment. If you want to like, that's cool. Subscribe. I don't know, that's what all the YouTubers say. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and everyone be safe and take a chill pill and maybe watch some Bob Ross. All right, well, have a great day. I much appreciate your time.